everybody? How you doing today? And welcome to the latest edition of the Drew Mini Allowed Podcast. Nice to have you with us for this Thursday. I'm mumbling saying Thursday, but it is Thursday, the 9th day of November, the year 2017, and of course, I am Andrew L. Perry. Thank you for that warm applause. As always, coming live and at you from the busy streets of Brooklyn, New York. And today I'm inside the campus of Long Island University in downtown Brooklyn. As I chat to you what's happening in the world of sports, we got a lot to get to as far as the NFL, as far as the world of sports is concerned. We got NFL to talk about as Thursday Night Football is tonight as the Seattle Seahawks take on the Arizona Cardinals, and that's pretty much. This is basically NFL talk we're going to discuss today, as basically the Seattle Seahawks are really ticked off after look at the bounce back after the performance. Let's be honest, they gave away to the Washington Redskins at all teams, as they look at the bounce back against the Arizona Cardinals, who have a running back, agent running back. His name is Adrian Peterson, who probably has resurrected his career somewhat. And he has been rushing the ball a lot. Last game, he rushed for 104 yards. And been rushing the ball very effectively. And last week just beat up the San Francisco the losers of the San Francisco 49ers as they 0-9 as they look to take on the Giants as they look to get their first win of the year. The Legion of Boom, we all know this is not the same defense that won the Super Bowl, obviously, but they're still effective. They just got to be more disciplined. You know, the Seahawks is the most penalized team in the NFL this year with 99 penalties total. But despite the coach, and even though Pete Carroll, I like Pete Carroll, he's not as strong of a coach as you think. Despite all that, I still think Seattle are good enough to win the game. But for the most part, what they have to do, they got to stop Adrian Peterson. Which, if I'm not mistaken, the Seattle Seahawks, correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen any a team rush for 100 yards. Might be the Rams. It might be some other team, but I don't think no team this year have run the football effectively against the Seattle Seahawks, against the Seattle Russian defense. And their pass defense is still one of the best in the league. With over 100, like they only give up 100 yards rushing, and their pass defenses. It's still up to par. Now, the injury report, Richard Sherman might play tonight. He's questionable, and a lot of injuries as well, but not significant as far as we know. But it should be, and plus Arizona, good home team. They have a 2-1 record, 400. Now, this week is really going to be crunch time. It's really going to be crunch time as far as excuse me. As far as the league is concerned, because we get into crunch time. We're not too far from. And I always have this theory: once November hits, especially the Detroit Lions, Dallas Cowboys Thanksgiving game, then the playoffs and the real season actually begin. We call that the second half, and they got it's really going to come. It's really going to come down to. It's time. In other words, it's time for separate the men from the boys. And as far as Arizona, as far as Arizona, Drew Stanton is not Tom Brady, obviously, not Tony Romo, not Drew Brees. As long as he managed the game, as long as just get the only way the Arizona Cardinals are going to win this game, honestly, you got to you got to give Adrian Peterson the football and give the football him a lot and give it to him a lot. You're actually going to have to throw the ball on Seattle because their pass defense is still good, but it's still not effective. It's still not like it was, but it's still strong enough. They still have a lot in the tank from their years of went to the Super Bowl, but they're still effective. With that said, they gotta run the football The Cardinals have to run the football effectively, and Drew Stanton cannot be Mr. Mistake. He cannot be. You seen a couple of times in this season, especially on the losing effort, that the Arizona Cardinals turn the ball over way too much, and the only way they're going to win the game against Seattle, and especially against Seattle, they got to not turn the ball over. Because Seattle, they known for turning mistakes into opportunities, and you cannot give them opportunity. You cannot give their defense opportunities. You cannot. You still got to be effective offensively. Now Seattle are the huge favorite, 6.2 favorites. That's a huge favorite actually. I think they'll be good enough to win the game. But then again, it's the NFL. Anything can happen. Don't be surprised on that. Now, last Monday on my podcast, how I killed the Giants and Bob McAdoo, Ben McAdoo. You know what? I keep mixing the names Bob and Ben. I do apologize for your Laker fans if I keep say Andrew. It's Ben, not Bob. I keep mixing Bob with Ben. It's Ben McAdoo. Ben McAdoo, the head coach of the New York Football Giants, and he's still trying to sell you. He's still trying to sell himself of why he should keep this job. And I say this, and obviously it's obvious he lost control of the team. He lost the players quit on him, the offense, the defense, everybody and their mama quit on him. I said this. If the Giants should let McAdoo finish the rest of the year and not let him. Don't fire him, because if you do fire him, who's your replacement? Steve Spagnuolo? Who's your replacement as a head coach? It's easier to fire a head coach. But when you fire a head coach, you better make sure you have somebody to replace that head coach. It's always easier and better to let the head coach finish out the rest of the year. Because the Giants are not going anywhere. This season is over. It's been, let's be honest, it's been over long. Once they hit 0-5, that season was long over. So as far as I know, it's been a real disappointing, frustrating, whatever you want to call it, an anger year, I would say, to say the least, if you're a Giants fan. You just gotta wait till next year, and don't bother wasting your time watching the Giants. Now staying with the NFC East, Jerry Jones. I guess Jerry Jones is threatened to sue the NFL. I guess because of suspending Ezekiel Elliott. And today I read on ESPN. According to ESPN, the judge denied to not suspend Ezekiel Elliott. So the suspension will be upheld. The question is when. Because since August, it's been this back and forth, so much times, and it's getting to the point now. When the NFL, what is going on? Are you going to upheld it? Yes or no? And we finally got the answer: yes. The question is when. And Jerry Jones to me, he's stroking his ego. Obviously, he's one of the most powerful men in one of the most powerful owners in the NFL. He's an ego booster, no question about it. And you can add this too, very hypocritical. This is the same man who spoke against if my players stood up for if my players sit or disrespect the flag, they will sit out the rest of the game. Oh, really? This is the same Jerry Jones who on Monday night against Arizona who took a knee with the Dallas Cowboys, and now you're going to speak out on it, man, Jerry, sit down, please. And as far as Ezekiel Elliott, you are very, very late to the party. Because you finally speak your innocence, which you should have done for when this story has begun. You all now haven't said, we have waited for years. We waited for months for you to say something. And now for you to say something. Now when your suspension be upheld, now you want to say something. That makes absolutely no sense. Because you know you don't want to face a suspension. If you were innocent, you should have said something from the beginning. Otherwise, you may have a case.